Hey, welcome to the Linc lineup. This is going to be a brand new podcast for Philadelphia Eagles fans. Me and Bryce, who you see to my left, or maybe my right, or maybe up or down, depending on how this thing lines up. We're going to discuss the Eagles, just as any other Eagles podcast does. Hopefully, we'll be a little more entertaining than most, and we'll probably give more biased opinions than you'll see anywhere else. With that being said, you can find us on Twitter or X or whatever they call it these days at the Linc lineup. You can follow Bryce at I am Bryce Haynes. You can follow me at Cardiac Chase on that social media platform. Today, we are going to be discussing the 53-man roster. We're going to predict who we think is going to be on that roster. And then we're going to follow up later on once the roster's been finalized and see how well we did. Anyway, we're going to post, forgot to mention this, we'll be posting the video version on YouTube, and we'll also post it on any of your favorite podcast apps. You'll find us there. So if you like us, please give us a like, subscribe, wherever they do on that particular website. So starting off, we're going to talk quarterbacks, which I feel is pretty easy. Pretty easy.
Pretty cut and dry.
Yeah, pretty cut and dry. For me, I think we're going to have Jalen Hurts, obviously. Marcus Mariota, obviously. And the other one being kind of maybe the third option being like the question mark, maybe, is between Tanner McKee and Ian Book. I have Tanner McKee winning out that spot, probably by the slimmest of margins, but I have him beating him
Yeah.
out.
So I had the same exact thing. The only way I see Tanner McKee not being on the roster is if we, for some reason, had the whole Carson Strong issue like we did last year in training camp and preseason. Carson Strong we paid him a ungodly amount of money for an undrafted rookie. Uh, you would you were thinking he was going to come in, maybe fight for quarterback two. Uh, and then preseason rolls around, never got a snap from him hardly. Training camp, you never really heard any news about him. It was almost like they wouldn't let the man pick up a damn football.
Right.
Like you hardly didn't hear any news about it. That's about the only way I don't see Tanner McKee not making this team. I think he will. Uh, he was a he was a good prospect coming out of college. He was. I think you stick him in any other draft, he could be a top 10 quarterback in some other drafts. Something Nothing crazy. He probably could go third round, fourth round, but he's not a first round talent or second round talent, nothing like that. But he was a pretty good quarterback at Stanford. He's got the prototypical quarterback look and size.
Right. And ultimately, this third quarterback spot is hopefully, as
Never
Eagles
have to
fans,
see it.
is completely useless and irrelevant to what we're talking about. But with that being said, we had to pick somebody because I do have that new rule. So Tanner McKee, welcome to the team. So we'll move on to the running backs, which to me is intriguing. I have the Eagles keeping four. Me and Bryce did discuss some of this before the show, just to kind of see where we're at. I have Rashad Penny, DeAndre Swift, Kenny Gainwell, and Boston Scott. No particular order, but I had those four. Trey Sermon would be the odd man out. I do think they can keep him stashed on the practice squad. Hopefully, I think Eagles fans and the Eagles themselves are the only people high on Trey Sermon, but we will see ultimately. Who do you got, Bryce?
Uh, I got the I got DeAndre Swift, Rashad Penny, Boston Scott, Kenny Gainwell, and to follow up what you was talking about, like I think Trey Sermon, I don't know what his problem was that see because he only had two carries last year, but it was two carries for 17 yards. It was positive yards.
That's great.
Good little chunk of numbers there for two carries.
That's 8.5
I
yards per
think,
carry.
yeah, I mean, he was. I don't know. To me, he's a good player. I think he has a potential to be a pretty good player. I just I don't know. We do. We've always done for the past few years now. Been a big running back by committee group. Never really overpaid anybody else other than what we have. You're not paying the number one running back higher than what you got two and three, et cetera, et cetera. They're all about this making the same, which it builds your team better. I mean, that's just studies show that the less money you spend at one position, better team is all around. But I think Trey could possibly, like you're saying, he might fall through waivers, and I don't know if anybody will pick him up. If you're able to stash him on your practice squad, I think Harry Roseman and everybody else could be very happy about that and keep him on the team as long as
Right. I do think there is. It's not a likely scenario, but it is a scenario that could play out. Is maybe Rashad Penny hasn't fully recovered from like his injuries from the past, and he just kind of looks off. I think a surprise cut could be Rashad Penny, and then you would replace him with Trey Sermon, and Trey Sermon would be the fourth running back on the roster. However, we don't hope that. We want Rashad Penny to be healthy and have a great year because from what we've seen, he is a very explosive back. He's a big back. He's big
he's
some
healthy.
some bitch.
When he's healthy, he's one of the best running backs in the league, one of the
Yeah.
better backs in the league.
Yeah.
It's
So
and for some reason the Eagles always like to keep a big bruiser back, kind of bigger guy, 220, 230 ish, 215 even on the roster. And Trey Sermon's a little bit bigger guy, so I could see where you're coming from. Rashad might not be as healthy as they think he is, and it looks like he's not losing a step, but not his full self. And he could be a surprise cut because hell, will they paying him? Not even a full meal, is it? It's
I don't think so. I think it was all relatively cheap.
Yeah. So it wouldn't hurt. It wouldn't hurt them to cut him. And you got youth and somebody who, for some reason, Nick Sirianni and Harry Roseman both seem to be a little bit higher on Trey Sermon than the media or anybody else really talks about. So obviously they're seeing something good out of him and something promising. So that, like you're saying, that could be something that actually could make sense.
Yep. And to wrap this up, there is one last thing I want to say is my player to watch in this group is Kenny Gainwell, just because he was okay during the regular season, turned it on during the playoffs, except for the Super Bowl, he wasn't great. So can he build on the postseason that he had, or will he go back to the regular season Kenny Gainwell? So that'll be interesting to see what happens there. Um, you know, not there's not really like a hot camp battle in the running back department, but there is like a smaller one, I guess. But we'll move on to
Ultimately, ultimately, I just want to say this. Ultimately, I think it's DeAndre Swift's job to lose at
right,
this point. I mean, he's the bigger name of the group, the young gun. His problem is same thing. Rashad Penny hasn't finished out a full season without health issues.
right,
So if he can do that, then it's his job to lose.
and hopefully with the running back by committee, they can all have a healthy season, and
Absolutely.
their load won't be as crazy. Um, so we'll move on to wide receivers. This one can go a couple different ways. Bryce just wanted to help me out with the name here because I've tried to master it a couple times, couldn't do it. AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Qued Watkins.
Olamide Zacchaeus.
Thank you. And then I got Britton Covey. Uh, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, and unfortunately for most Eagles fans, Quez Watkins. I think we all have a sore spot for Quez because of that pass in the Super Bowl where it seemed like he forgot how to run routes at some point last year. It just seems like I don't know. I don't know what happened to him. But
Deep down, I think there was a game in there somewhere. I think it may have been the Washington one, uh, the one we lost at home. He fumbled that ball, and ever since that game, you kind of seen it almost like his confidence, like he was shook. He lost a lot of confidence in himself and his abilities. But I don't know. I think I'm a little bit higher on Quez than some people. Like his natural abilities, God, he's probably one of the fastest guys in the league. If he's definitely the fastest guy on our team, but I think he could be a lot better than what I think he can have another step up year.
Yeah. Now, ultimately, I think that if they do want to move on from Quez, or if something does happen to Quez, buddy that I can't pronounce, which I will get at some point this year, I think he can fit in that spot. Um, from what I've seen and what I've read, he's been very good. He's very good whenever he has the ball and getting yards after the catch, which is lovely. Considering what you also have on the outside with AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, who can also get tons of yards after the catch. So that's nice. Last person on that wide receiver group that I named was Britton Covey. If he sees the field as a wide receiver, our season's over.
We're
We're
in
we're
trouble.
just going to chalk it up and see you next year. Anything you'd like to add for move on tight ends?
No, I think we had the same group.
Yeah, I do think the two people to watch. I don't think they're going to make the team. Is Tyree Cleveland, who might come out of nowhere and do like that Zach Pascal that we had, and then what's his name? Joseph Nagata. He came from Clemson, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
a bigger guy, bigger body would definitely be an outside receiver, which the Eagles don't have a ton of backups.
Hmm.
So look out for
A
those
name
guys in
I, I
preseason.
I would throw out there just for the sole fact from last year what he did is they brought back Deion Kane this year again, and I don't see a role for him in special teams necessarily. I don't think he's fast enough to return punts or kicks or something like that. But uh, he 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 played pretty well in the preseason last year on the outside. Uh, he's a bigger body. Say AJ goes down, hopefully that never ever happens. But say he goes down or something like that, they want to replace somebody with more size back into the lineup. He could be a candidate that they could keep.
I gotcha. Yeah. So we'll move on to tight ends. I originally had Dallas Goddard, Jack Stoll, Dan Arnold. However, after talking with Bryce about it and looking at Dan Arnold's production in the past, I have completely changed my mind. Went to Grant Calcaterra with a wild card there. I'm not putting him on the roster, but I definitely have him as a person to look out for. Is Tyree Jackson coming off? He's had bad
Yep,
injury luck the past couple of years, but from what I've read so far, he's made pretty impressive plays in camp. Um,
he's an athletic monster in
he
camp
is.
and practices.
He definitely is. Um, they like Jack Stoll because of his blocking abilities, and they like Grant Calcaterra because of his receiving abilities. Grant Calcaterra is not going to be able to block a defensive end, but he can block maybe a linebacker or like a safety, like go up to the second level. But you can't ask him to block uh, a lineman. That's not going to happen. So you got kind of like I guess like a yin and a yang right there, just complete opposites. And they work together.
Yeah,
Um,
I kept the same group as last year. Dallas Goddard, Jack Stoll, Grant Calcaterra. Like we were talking about, I don't know if Dan Arnold has had enough previous production and to kind of solidify himself into making the roster. But uh, I think they just, I think they, this is a position, to me, it's a position of need for as the standpoint of more depth. You got a top five tight end in the league as your number one, but there's when he goes down, there is a major drop off in productivity after him, and obviously we haven't seen Dallas kind of. He's been bitten by the injury bug as of late, these past couple of years.
well, last year wasn't
So
really his fault though.
no, it wasn't. It wasn't at all. It just kind of bad, wrong place, wrong time. Bad result came from it. Uh, but man, he Dallas is a surefire. He could be a damn 100 catch a year type player. It's just the injuries have bitten him before, and those past couple games, those games that he missed this year, you saw a drastic drop off in their passing offense because he's always a safety blanket for Jalen, just like any tight end is for their quarterbacks.
Any
But
good
if you,
tight end.
yeah, any good tight end, but if you don't have enough faith in them, you're just not going to get. the quarterback don't have enough faith in them, you're not going to get the ball. You know what I mean? So I mean, so just a drastic drop off from there. Where I think they could look to either add somebody, maybe if they can't add somebody, I think they just roll with the three that they had last year and kind of hope Jack Stoll and Grant Calcaterra take take some steps in their respect of their own game. Jack being his receiving ability and Grant being his blocking ability.
Right. Yeah. Speaking of blocking, next up is the offensive lineman. Um, so I got Jordan Mailata, obviously. Landon Dickerson, obviously. Jason Kelsey, duh. Tyler Steen, Lane Johnson, Cam Jurgens, Dennis Kelly, Jack Driscoll, Brett Toth. Did you have somebody different?
Um, no, but at the same time, I could see where they might want to keep Sua Opeta over Brett Toth. But that leads me to a question. Who do you have starting at right guard this year?
It's funny because that was the question I was about to ask you. Uh, so so originally I thought to myself it was going to be Cam Jurgens because that's what everybody talked about. That seemed like that was going to be the plan moving forward. However, I believe I was listening to the BGN radio um, episode, and they said that I forgot who it was. I think it was Berman. They said that Berman was like, "Hey, you know, who's going to play center in training camp because Jason Kelsey is like he's not going to practice, you know." And it's like, oh yeah, Cam Jurgens is going to be that guy. So is he going to get any reps at right guard? And
Yeah,
that leaves that question mark there. And so I thought about it. Cam Jurgens is undersized, and
he is.
when you think about it, you really don't want an undersized guard next to an undersized center. Jason Kelsey has all the heart and grit in the world, but at some point, that somebody will take advantage of it, and we don't want that. So I have Tyler Steen winning that job. He might struggle, but guard is definitely the easiest position to play on the line, especially when you're sandwiched between Jason Kelsey and Lane Johnson. It's going to be a lot easier that transition because he played
Yeah,
tackle at Alabama, right?
he played left tackle. Yes.
Yeah. So that transition from tackle to guard should be a breeze when you have two future Hall of Famers side by side. Um, is that who you got at right guard as well?
See, yeah, I have Tyler Steen starting. I'm a I'm a big Bama guy. I've watched him play. I watched him play all last year. He man, what's so special to me about his game, he is because he started out as a defensive tackle at Vanderbilt, switched positions, transferred to Bama to play left tackle. And they, at the beginning of camp last year at Alabama, they moved him all around the line. Like they moved him from left tackle to right tackle. He played a little bit of guard in practice, but uh, his true position was left tackle. And that shows you he has a lot of versatility to his game. And from all the that I've watched, that guy is a monster of a man, and he is so light on his feet, which it's like the transition to guard is going to help a lot when you, like you said, you got two Hall of Famers on each side of you. That's, I mean, and if I'm Jason Kelsey, I don't want somebody who's my size playing to my right
Yeah.
when I'm a small guy myself. I want a big some bitch like they had, because they don't give a lot of people don't give Isaac say Malo a lot of credit. Isaac was a big dude, man.
Big
Isaac
dude.
was a very big dude, and before Isaac, you had Brandon Brooks. So I mean, he's played around bigger guys most of the time. And if I'm Jason Kelsey and this might be my last year, probably not because this guy always seems to come back.
Yeah.
I want to have somebody who I can who when we go up against Dexter Lawrence, Jonathan Allen, you know what I'm talking about?
Twice a
Uh
year. Twice a year.
yeah, twice a year. I want somebody that can give me some help on my right side. So and this is no shot to Cam Jurgens at all. At all. I think he's going to be a great player when it comes this time. He did phenomenal last year in preseason at center. I just think center is his true position, and uh, I think it's going to end up being Tyler Steen.
Right. Um, couple few thoughts to wrap up this group. I do think the Dennis Kelly acquisition is a very good one because you have a swing tackle that can play both left and right tackle. He can play guard. He can play everything but center, and we already have a backup center. So, I feel like that's a great move. That kind of sneaky. I feel like.
Which with
That
him, if you don't feel comfortable with them two playing right guard, you brought in some veteran presence to kind of bolster that.
absolutely. Um, Anything else before you want to move on to defensive ends?
Nope, I like
Cool.
it.
Cool. Defensive end is not going to be is going to be your traditional defensive end. So when you think of defensive end, you're thinking of Brandon Graham, right? Correct.
Yep.
That's what we're talking about. So I got Brandon Graham, Josh Sweat, and Janarius Robinson, and that's who I think you got too, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yep.
And we talked about this. We were like, well, Derek Barnett just restructured his contract. I don't think he's going to be ready for the start of the season. So I think he's going to end up on the pup. So his spot, he won't hold a spot on the roster.
Now that we talk about it a little bit more, um, say say Derek Barnett is ready, time season comes. Do you think there is a way Janarius still beats him out, or do they give it to Derek as his like this is Derek's last chance? You know what I mean? Like this before because he's a free agent next year.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
I think it'll be his last chance, and then you can stick Janarius Robinson on the practice squad, I believe. So
see they're really high on Janarius too. They traded for him from the Vikings a couple of years ago, and they've kept him around this long. You know what I mean? So I mean, they see something in practice because he's a big dude, man. He's got length. His wingspan is one of the. I think it's one of the biggest on the team. That dude is long, athletic, and I don't know. I think you got something there. He just needs reps.
yep. Um, and that's really all. I mean, I can really say about this group. Nothing crazy, nothing special really, other than BG. He's age 35. It's probably his last year. Soak it all in, Eagles fans, because that is a Philly legend through and through. Hopefully,
Absolutely.
hopefully Josh Sweat stays healthy. Has builds on the year he had last year.
I
So
think this would be another. See, Josh, what would you consider his year last year his breakout year?
I feel like the year before
Or
that, what you can probably consider like his breakout year, and then last year was like he's his solidified. Hey, look at me, I'm a Pro Bowler year.
yeah,
So
I think he builds on what he did last year. What he finished with, like 11 or 12 sacks, something close to that.
all I know is with double digits. I don't remember the number, but all I know is with double digits. So
Yeah,
we'll take that. We'll take that any day. Moving on. Edge rushers. So when you think of edge rushers, you think of
Hassan Reddick, Nolan
bang.
Smith. I was like, yeah,
Yep. So those two are making the team. Nolan Smith is my who I'm most excited to see get on the field. Third person, I got Patrick Johnson. I know what's up, Kyron Johnson? Yeah. Had a brain fart there. I know that, we drafted him a couple years ago. But from what I've read, they're trying to move him to linebacker, like traditional linebacker, and to me that's not a good thing because they're just trying to put you somewhere. They're like, please show me something somewhere. So I don't think it looks good for him. So I got Patrick Johnson with his big ass neck roll.
no,
At
I
the
had
third
the
spot.
I got the same exact thing. And to build on what you're saying about Nolan, uh, see, I've read some. I've been keeping up with training camp these past couple of days, and it looks like Nolan might be. He could very well be like he could overtake Jalen Carter as like the spotlight guy through the year on flashy plays and being seen all over the field because it seems like he's dominating in training camp right now, and it's going against the ones too. I mean,
Right.
it's not like he's going against just our damn third string bunch of no name guys they brought in for practice, but he's doing this against Jordan Mailata and going against Lane. I'm sure he's moving all around the field. He's dropping into coverage too. I mean, he's making flash plays all
Yeah.
over the
I
field.
already locked up Boston Scott today.
Yeah,
Boston Scott's not
that's
an
a
easy guy to guard.
no, absolutely not. Boston Scott's a guy you do not want to see in open field, and you have to make a tackle.
Yeah. No, for
And
sure.
you got a damn edge rusher covering him. Which his pro comp coming out was Hassan, but he is like he's two times more athletic than Hassan was when Hassan was coming out, and Hassan is now. Like he's just got athletic abilities that Hassan doesn't have, and if he's able to tap into his pass rush moves and learn from Hassan, we might have a Hassan on steroids with this
Might
guy.
definitely might, and I'm excited. I'm excited to see him. Hopefully, he plays a little bit in preseason just to kind of get the fans excited.
hmm
Fan. So we'll see. We'll see. We'll move on to the tackles. I have Fletcher Cox, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Milton Williams, Moro Ojomo, and I have Kentavious Street. I know you have Tui, and
yeah,
so
yeah.
this is. I think this is the only thing we kind of disagreed with.
I had a Tui Pelotu, and I'm not sure if he's fully healthy from his ACL injury last year. So if they don't start Marlon on the active roster and he's not 100% healthy, I think they go on with Noah Ellis because, like we was talking about, they always like to keep a big nose tackle. Jordan Davis is your starting nose tackle. He's going to be your big guy in your 5-man fronts when it comes that time. But say Jordan is tired, you need to rotate in guys in and out. I think they keep Noah Ellis. Noah Ellis is a bigger guy. He's 340, and they seem pretty high on him. They were high on him last year's training camp. He made a lot of noise. Um, got some good reps in preseason last year. Looked good. I just think I don't I don't see a lot with Contavious Street. Uh, he's not the. I think they're going to want to keep a lot of youth on this offensive line, on defensive line, excuse me. Uh, since all your big guys, BG, Fletch, that it's coming to the end with them, so they want to keep some youth around, kind of homegrown to an aspect. I think Noah could be a pretty good player if he gets some reps.
Yeah, I think Kentavious Street. If you count Pro Football's focus sacks totals, he had 6 last year, and I feel like being surrounded by a star-studded defensive line, he'll shine. And I think
Mhm.
the prospect of him reaching his full potential outweighs everything else that we have as far as like the youth movement you mentioned. Um,
Let me ask you. Let me ask you your question on this because this guy is he's going to be, he's my surefire 100% slam dunk player this year. Jalen Carter, give me your thoughts on JC.
uh, I'm kind of annoyed a little bit by the reports of like he's
They
already
making it seem
won.
like he's
Yeah,
Superman.
yeah. I like it's this training camp. That's fine.
They ain't even got pads on yet.
Yes, and some of the veterans don't even go 100% because they know they're like this shit sucks. It's hot out here. I'm not trying. I'm not pulling a cramp. Um, but I think he's gonna be great. I think he has a lot of great mentors to help him as he coming into the league, and that's huge.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
so
He's got
you
his
know,
boys with too, man. Which also, I mean, that helps. They got four players that he's played with in college on that defense. So I don't know. I mean, it's a big step for him. How about Jordan Davis? What have you seen from him this offseason that you like?
it looks slim, and so
He
it seems
does.
like he's taking care of himself. He's still big. Don't get me wrong. He's still a big guy. That's a good thing because that let
That's
him
a
eat.
big son bitch. That's a big son bitch, man.
Uh, so yeah,
uh,
I'm excited.
I'm really excited for Jordan Davis because you know me, I was real high on him last year. I I look I absolutely loved that pick when we drafted him. Uh, he played really well before his injury last year. I thought like he was competing on starting every week at the very beginning of that year. Pittsburgh game rolled around, tweaked his ankle. Really wasn't the same after that throughout the year, which I think it was a big mental thing for him last year. He was high on the horse probably at the beginning of the year. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I'm making plays all over the field. Gets hurt, has to sit out a couple weeks. Never really got that momentum and self confidence back. But he looks like he's dropped some weight, like you said. Looks a little bit slimmer, but he's like you said, still a big ass dude, man. I mean, what is he? 6'6", like
Yeah,
probably still pushing 340. I mean, you don't want to see that, especially who can move like a cat. I mean, that's something that you don't want to have to block for 60 minutes of football.
so definitely, definitely. Before I move on to the linebackers, I think we should take a quick little timeout, a quick little break. Maybe run an ad or two. Sorry about it. Somebody's got to get paid here. So we'll see you on the other side of this break. Welcome back to the Linc lineup. We are going to discuss linebackers. Uh, I got N'Kobe Dean, Christian Ellis. What did I say? Did I say Nicholas Morrow or did I not say Nicholas Morrow?
You said Sean Bradley.
Okay,
Yeah, go ahead and think it over now.
I don't
That's a
know.
tough because I think you got two of the same player between Christian Ellis and Sean Bradley. You know what I mean? I mean, it seems like Christian's a little bit better, but I mean, they're both coming. They both kind of established themselves on this team throughout the same route. You know what I mean? Like special teams.
Yeah, but I'm just not sold on Nicholas Morrow though. I'm just not sold.
Not either.
I mean, he's wearing number 41. Like
Yeah. What are we doing?
they
Come
gave
on
they,
now.
they gave him something. They gave him a jersey from the back of the closet.
Yeah.
So
But I don't know. Like we talked about, I had N'Kobe Dean, Nicholas Morrow, Christian Ellis, and I think they bring another one in that is not on this roster right now.
yeah. So I had the same thing. So I had the same. Obviously, we're on the same wavelength here. I think my only thing was I feel like if they add a linebacker, I feel like Nicholas Morrow has to go.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But then
See, I
there's
don't know. They
go
got
ahead.
money tied up. They have money tied up in him. You know what I mean? Like they just signed him. So I think it's going to be anybody that they have signed coming into this year. Like this tracks back to Dan Arnold because they signed him to a deal. Anybody who's making over such and such money, I think it's going to be hard to let them go though. But at the same time, they don't take like a big. They're not going to take a big cap hit for that. But uh, I don't know, man. I think it's going to be. I think Christian Ellis might take. If they bring in somebody, I think Christian Ellis might take the back seat on it, and they'll roll with N'Kobe, Nicholas Morrow, said player. I think it. I think they look heavy into Patrick Queen. I really do.
I mean, that's the dream scenario.
Yeah. Uh, my other dream scenario can't trade candidate that could happen would be Isaiah Simmons from the Cardinals. Um,
Very fast guy.
very athletic, like a unicorn. I mean, he's an athletic unicorn. But another guy that's been talked about, which I think this is the least likely one to happen, would be Devin White from the Bucks. Um, but I think Patrick Queen could be your best bet, and I don't think it would take that much to get him. I don't see it taking that much to get him. He's already declined his 5th year option.
Right.
Uh,
He might come in as a 1 year rental. So
yeah, and because he kind of had a down year, but at the same time, they bring in Roquan Smith. So you're comparing his numbers to Roquan's, which that hardly ain't ever gonna work out for you. But I don't know. I think a change of scenery would help Patrick Queen a lot, and it would help both sides and tremendously if you were able to bring him in. if you can trade a third round pick for Patrick Queen, I think you pull that trigger 100%. If that is like I don't because you're not trading a second or first for him. You're not trading that for a guy who's already declined an option with that team anyway. So I mean, at that point, Baltimore knows he's not going to sign with them. He's not going to re-sign with them. So I mean, you're just going to try to get whatever you can get out for him. So if you're looking at like a third or fourth round pick for him, I think Howie's got to pull that trigger.
All right. I do think there is a world where Christian Ellis beats out Nicholas Morrow. We just don't bring in anybody, um, because Christian Ellis has been making plays. At one point, it was 3 practices, 3 picks, and so interceptions isn't everything, but being a playmaker on defense is something. You know,
Would you would you think say that is the case? Would you be okay with that going into the season, or would you like to see them try to improve that position more?
uh, well, as you're well aware,
Like, would you feel comfortable with that going into the season?
I still think Nakobe Dean's a question mark. Like I know that he has all the smarts in the world. That's always been his strength, is being smarter than the next person. But we're also talking the NFL here, where everybody else is also
Everybody,
smart.
everybody's smart.
You would think. I will say there
Mhm.
probably is some dumb people that play, but um, you know, I do see, like, he could outsmart people. He could use it. There have been undersized guys who have like used their intelligence to their advantage, and but you do worry about his size. And you do worry that he might be shaky because his training camp last year was disappointing.
Yeah,
Very quiet. I wouldn't say disappointing, but quiet. He didn't
I
really put.
just like you're talking about. I just don't think we've seen enough from him to know necessarily what we have. You know what I mean? Everybody, the media and Twitter, all social media platforms have just got this has just gotten a Kobe pen to paper surefire star. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I just don't know if that's the case.
yeah. I think I I do think there is reason to be excited for him. I do,
Hmm.
because like that Tennessee game, it was kind of fun watching him. I mean, we were there. We're there for it. We get to
Yeah,
see it.
he shined in
Um,
that game for
I
sure.
don't remember too much at the game, but I remember watching it after. I was like, we saw that. I
Yeah.
didn't. It came back to me. But I do think that all this hype around him, and like get the Georgia players, that's the Georgia defense, it can lead to maybe a disappointing year where in any other year it wouldn't be disappointing. And to
Yeah.
answer your question, as far as like being comfortable with it, we've went to seasons with terrible, terrible linebackers, and we've been okay. However, if you want to be a Super Bowl team, you want to address your weaknesses. That way, you want to make it like almost a perfect team, and you can't have like a glaring hole. And I feel like
Yeah.
right now linebacker is that hole because it's a bunch of unproven dudes that need time to prove themselves. And so it's just a big question mark going into the year.
See, like to me, last year I was in the same boat, kind of right now as I am. Um, I didn't think we did enough really at the linebacker position. Even last year, you brought in Kaiser White on a 1 year deal. I didn't think Kaiser was that good to start the
Yeah,
year. I
you
mean,
hated him. So
yeah, I wasn't the biggest Kaiser fan. You know what I mean? Like I don't for some reason with this team, it has been so hard to find a damn linebacker, like a surefire stud linebacker. I
yeah.
mean, looking back, I mean, when's the last really, really good one that we've had? Like Jeremiah Trotter. I mean, like Jordan
Uh,
Hicks. Jordan Hicks was all right, but I mean, you know what I mean? Like we don't have a surefire like stud guy that you go into the year and look absolutely and just know you can rely on him. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Question marks at that position, and we've had him for a while.
I'm still thinking of like a good linebacker. I feel like there's somebody that's been in recent memory, but We had Michael Kendricks, we had Nigel Bradham, Jordan Hicks, like you said.
I, to my knowledge, there hasn't been one. TJ,
DJ was
it
cool,
was
but like he was good at one thing. I feel like he was good at one thing and one
no,
thing
no.
only.
That's what I'm getting at. We've had linebackers who've been the good ones that we have been one thing, and they weren't above. They weren't. So, at some of them weren't even average at another thing. You know what I mean? Like a decent drop off in their game.
Right.
Which TJ got better. TJ was a really good run stopper, and he progressed in pass coverage, but you could still see that there was lack of athleticism and coverage ability when he was out there.
I got you. Well, we'll move on to cornerbacks now. We spent a lot of time on linebackers, which
Yeah,
I feel like is a needed discussion, but we have all the time this preseason slash training camp to talk about them. I'm sure we're going to see something in those games that we're going to be like, yep, this guy stinks. This guy's good.
yeah,
This guy's definitely making the team. So we'll move on to the cornerbacks. I think we also kind of had a different group, maybe. I can't remember. James Bradbury, Darius Slay, Avonte Maddox, Zach McPherson, Keely Ringo. We didn't have I just remember we didn't have a different like six guys because I have them keeping six.
yeah,
I think I had the toss up between Josh Jobe and Greedy Williams,
yeah.
and it it truly is, in my opinion, a toss up. I feel like Josh Jobe, from what I've seen in training camp, has is kind of he has his highs and his lows. He's not consistent. I haven't seen anything about Greedy, so I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Um, have you seen anything about him?
No, I haven't seen anything about Greedy, uh, but I have seen some stuff about Josh. Josh broke up a couple passes in the second team in the second group. Made some good plays on the ball, which I thought Josh Jobe was a damn good special teams player last year. And special teams goes a long way in this league, man. You know what I mean? Like that, if you ain't got a surefire job on offense or defense, your ass better be committed to special teams and show that you can play. And I think that's what Josh did last year.
Yeah,
So I think, but like I said earlier, I just don't know if they're going to cut Greedy because they got money tied to him, which is always. But it's like when I don't. That might be just a bad thing on like on my aspect, just because they're like 1 year deals. They're not multiple year deals. You know what I mean?
I don't think there's a
But
lot of like guaranteed money that would hurt them. Uh, so I don't think the money tied into him is like a factor. I think they had him, they signed him, they knew that he wasn't like a lock to make the roster. So I don't think Howie was like, "Hey, you're going to have a huge cap hit if we cut you."
yeah, I know what you mean now. So when you put it at that aspect, I could see him going Josh Hill over
Yeah,
Greedy, just
right.
because we don't know what we got with Greedy. We kind of know what we got with Job. Job's they have good size, athletic traits, stuff like that. Um, but I think Josh was a pretty good contributor on special teams last year, so
Yep.
I think they could keep him over Greedy.
Yeah, I think that's where it hurts Greedy is because he doesn't have special teams background really. He's kind of he's a guy that plays defense, you know. So, um,
And it
so
doesn't help. Greedy was never really an inside corner. Never played slot a whole lot. He's always been on the outside.
yep.
And I don't know, because you got Keeley, which is another question mark to me. Keeley's like another one of them athletic unicorns. He was a track guy coming out of high school, like a damn good track guy, like won state and stuff in his aspect of wherever the hell he was from. But he was height, weight, speed kind of guy. And
Right.
I seen where he's been working out with Buda Baker and stuff like that. And I read a report. I don't know where this came from. It was a beat. I was listening. It was. I either heard it on a podcast or read it somewhere that he's cross training at corner and safety.
The Keely?
So yeah. So I mean, everybody like his thing coming out of college was, hey, this guy needs to make a transition to safety, and he could be an elite safety. So I don't know, man. They might have something with him. I I think him at safety would be pretty cool because he's damn 6'2", 210. I mean that looks like a safety to me, but
Yeah.
I don't know. He's
Yeah.
got good man coverage skills, and well, he's a better zone corner than he is man corner, but he's got all the athletic traits and the size to be a good man corner. He wasn't bad in college. He's just that wasn't his. Georgia didn't play a lot of man either, so I mean you didn't really get to see a lot of it. But uh, I don't know. It's Keely's interesting to me. That's somebody I'm going to watch definitely in training camp
Yeah.
and
I,
preseason.
I think he definitely makes the team.
Oh, 100%.
He's going to make the team. It's just a matter of where, and how he makes the team. So, um, I know you mentioned safety with Keely, so we're going to talk about safeties next. I have Reed Blankenship, Terrell Edmonds, Sidney Brown, and Justin Evans. Here's my thing I'll say real quick about this group. I think I think somebody said something about like a rating, like I can't remember who rated them or what it was, but it was like the 28th ranked group in all of football. I think this group right here has the chance to be like the most surprising group in all
Oh
of
yeah,
football. I think when we talk about linebackers, I believe Sidney Brown can be that inside the box guy. I, I
yeah,
believe I believe Reed can also be that inside the box guy. And then Terrell Edmonds can play center field.
yeah.
You know,
See, the thing is with to me personally, because I was going to ask you this question. Uh, is there any chance? You see any chance Sydney ends up a starter this at some point in this year? Because I do. I think he could beat out. I don't think he beats out Reed. I think Reed might be more solidified than Terrell is, but Terrell is like the proven. You know what you got with Terrell in this league. Reed, you don't at so much. He hasn't played a full 17 games. You know what I mean? He hadn't had
right?
to, but um, I'm a little bit. I'm. I think I'm higher on Reed than a lot of people are. I think he's the because I've always been into guys safeties who can tackle, hit hard, stuff like that. You know what I mean? So, and he's about the only guy. He's the only safety that we currently know of on this roster that can really do that. Besides Justin Evans, he he laid Derrick Henry out in college back in like 2015. But I mean, Justin, he
Hasn't done a
hasn't
damn thing since.
hadn't done nothing since. But I don't know, man. This is a weaker. This is definitely the hole in our defense, I believe. But like you said, I think this group could turn some heads and kind of surprise people. Not from like the sole aspect of them surprising people so much they're like a top five safety room in the league or nothing. But if they got them ranked 28th, you can't get much lower.
Right,
You
yeah,
there's a lot of room to go up.
yeah,
So I mean, I don't know. I like you're saying. I think they could surprise some people. I think Sydney's could end up starting somewhere and at some point in this year.
yeah. For the audio only listeners, I came from a show where we did just video only, so this is something that I will have to improve on as we go forward. I answered when Bryce asked me, do I think Sidney Brown will start by the end of the year? I shook my head no. Throwing that out there. For the people who are watching this on YouTube, you obviously saw I shook my head no. So, with that being said, I think that Sidney Brown, I feel like I said Sidney Jones at some point. Maybe I did, maybe I
No,
did. All right.
nah, you didn't.
Sorry. It's on my head. It's on my brain, Sidney Jones.
Legend.
I wish you were great, but you weren't. So happy when we got you, but that's okay. Sidney Brown. I think they're going to have packages where he's going to be like I said, in the box, or Reed's going to be in the box. They're going to have packages for him. They're not going to let him sit on the bench all year. That dude's like an athletic freak. He's swole.
He's a big dude.
He's swole. Um, I
Hockey body, but he's big dude, cut
yeah.
and everything else.
I'm excited for him. He's. I'm very excited to watch him play. Can't wait to see what he can do. So with the four people I mentioned, I don't think you had a different group.
No.
So guess what that means? Kayvon
What's up,
Wallace,
buddy?
you're out.
See ya, you bum.
Next,
Golly, man.
Brian Dawkins is no longer going to be on the team. I don't know. I don't
Jeez.
know why anybody ever said that shit. And whoever started that should not ever talk about sports again.
Please. That might be one of the biggest letdowns, like hype build up letdowns of a player that I've seen in a long time, man.
Yeah.
The sheer hype that was around this guy when he got drafted in the fourth round. What the hell did we think we found in the fourth round that nobody else seen? You know what I mean? Like, come on now.
Yeah.
Which hell, Sydney's a fourth round pick too. So I mean, could be the same fucking result. We just don't know it.
I mean, nobody's saying Brian Dawkins. I think they're saying Troy Polamalu because of his hair. But with that being said, Kayvon Wallace will be on the practice squad still, so he's not completely gone. And to wrap up this, I would like to say I'm not the bitter Eagles fan about CJ GJ. I feel bad that he got hurt. Sad because he's good when he plays. He's great when he plays, but the injury bug bit him. I'm not going to say fuck you or anything like that. I want to say thank you. Thank you for the year you gave us last year. So anything else about the safeties before we move on to special teams?
I think I brought up something when we was talking about this previously. I completely forgot about it. I had the same group that you had, but I also said this could also be the move that we make at some point in the year, whether it be training camp, somewhere in the season around the deadline, something like that, kind of a rental kind of player. If you don't make a move at linebacker, this is the other room that I think you definitely make a move in. Whether that be Buda Baker, which I don't see happening personally.
Nope. It'd be cool though. It'd be cool.
It would be really cool. That guy also seems like he wants to come to the Eagles. Everything he's doing on like social media and like talked about Sirianni and stuff like that, he kind of seems like he wants to be an Eagle. But
well, I mean, wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly. At the same time, I think this is the room that they make a move in. I may be wrong. Like we talked about, they may Reed and Terrell and everybody else may come out playing like their damn hair's on fire and shock everybody. So I don't know.
And we hope that we definitely hope that. Moving on to special teams should be quick and to the point. Jake Elliott, Aaron Sipos, Rick Lovato.
Any competition at long snapper?
Nope. He's been as solid as they come. The transition from old John to Rick has been smooth
and seamlessly.
Yep, can't complain.
I think you got a little bit of a competition there at punter, but I just don't see Sipos losing it. I don't know. Ty Zettner's going to have to do something like remarkable in camp and preseason for him to win that job over. And that's not me giving credit to Aaron Sipos whatsoever, because that guy stinks.
Yeah, he's ass.
I am not the biggest fan of Aaron Sipos. I don't think any of the Eagles community is a big fan of Aaron Sipos. If you do, you're not a real Eagles fan. You're kind of delusional.
Yep.
That guy is ass, but at the same time, I don't know about Ty Zettner either, because it seems like he's so hit and miss. He's got a fucking monster ass leg, but he could shank one just as quick as he can kick a bomb. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's not complete as a punter.
Yep.
We need Wyatt on here to talk about special teams. Yeah,
the Wyatt's our special teams guru. Anytime we talk special teams, which I don't think we'll ever have an episode dedicated to special teams unless something crazy happens, we will have Wyatt on.
Unless we need to go on a rant about special teams.
Yeah. The only type of people that want Aaron Sipos on the Eagles is his family. There is not one soul out there that wants Aaron Sipos as a punter for next year. And I feel like that's where we're headed. Everybody's saying, we could definitely upgrade. I don't see it happening. We haven't upgraded the past 2 years. Aaron Sipos has been dog shit every year. He had a nice little run there for a little bit, but when it came to Super Bowl time, why do we take out Brett Kern? I don't know.
a lot of our hearts.
Yep.
That's
So,
I don't know, man.
there you have it with the 53 man roster. I'm not doing practice squad. That can change. It's just not gonna be fun to go back and be like, oh, you got this practice squad guy, right? And then Buddy from I don't know the Titans is like he joins and it's not fun to talk about. So with that being said, I do want to pose this question right here, right now, before the preseason starts and before everybody's excited for certain players. We've had many people in the past that have been the preseason sweetheart. I cannot remember his name. There was one guy I remember. But I can't remember his name. It sucks. He was running back from Mizzou, and what's his name? He's tiny. I can't remember his name. I want to look it up.
What
Um,
year?
I'll look it up here in a second. So give me your preseason sweetheart. Who do you think is going to take the world by storm?
Um,
The Eagles' world by storm, by the way, just because.
I think it'll. I think it. I think it'll be Sidney Brown. Actually, he's my. Well, cause see, I was gonna
Time
go
out.
with.
Time out. Time out. Let me rephrase the question because yeah, Sidney Brown be the sweetheart. Give me your sweetheart that will be overrated by fans that will not make the team. Give me somebody that's like everybody's gonna fall in love with and not make the team.
Uh, it's gonna be. I don't think you're gonna like it because it's your boy, but Joseph Ngata,
Yeah.
the receiver from Clemson, I think he could come in the preseason, make a couple splash plays, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, we got D Hop out here and on our damn practice squad that nobody knows about." No, sir. Uh, I think he's going to be a little overrated. I've lost a lot of faith in Clemson football players. I don't know. Kayvon Wallace has left a bad taste in my mouth, man. So I don't know. It's weird.
It
Uh,
was Henry Josie, by the way.
oh yeah, never mind. Okay, I know who you're talking about now.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember. I remember that guy. But no, I think his sweetheart will be Sidney Brown. But I feel like it's kind of expected from him, and that's given me the problem like with my first answer because I was 100% gonna go Jalen Carter with
Yeah.
that, but at the same time, I think everybody's expecting to see something him just absolutely tear up preseason. But
I don't think Jalen Carr is going to play that much. I think he's going to play
but
like
I was just about to say I don't think him or Nolan play enough to
yeah.
make like a big impact because hell, N'Kobe and Jordan Davis didn't play too terribly much last year. I know N'Kobe played more than Jordan Davis did, but I don't know.
Yeah.
What
Cool.
about you?
Yeah, I think the original question in my head was like, who you gonna fall in love with, not gonna make the team, and it was my boy from Clemson, uh, which it hurts me because I feel like he's gonna be like Travis Fulgham and
Oh,
tear it up,
what a
and then
legend!
yeah, we don't speak of his name anymore. He walked so Nagata can run, but I do think Sidney Brown will also be the sweetheart. However, I'm not going to go the same pick as you just for the sake of doing this. I think. What do I think? I think Christian Ellis. But no, wait. I said wait. Are we talking about the person? This is the person who's going to make the team. Yeah, Christian Ellis. I think. I think he's just gonna. He just seems like the guy that's always like out there busting his ass and like giving 110% on every play. And so I think Eagles fans are going to definitely like see that, and that's who they usually get behind. So I think he's going to take home that sweetheart role. Um, then the last,
let me
I guess,
throw
go
let
ahead.
me throw a name out for you since we're talking about linebackers who could stand out in preseason. Ben Van Sumeren, the guy, the undrafted rookie from Michigan State that we picked up. He went to Michigan as a running back, transferred to Michigan State, played linebacker. Athletic demon, athletic freak. Some bitch is about 5'10", 230. Short guy, big dude, but he makes all kinds of plays athletically. So I think he could be a standout. Don't see him making the team unless it's special teams and they put his ass on gunner on kickoff, and he goes out there and knocks somebody's head off. But uh, I think he could be a kind of a standout. Uh, just the thing I think of him was player comp kind of thing is Malcolm Rodriguez from the Lions. How he came into training camp
Hard
and
knock, sweetheart.
yeah, and yeah, and preseason kind of just dominated. I don't see him starting, but on in the regular season like Malcolm, but I think he can make some plays in preseason.
Definitely. This has been a good episode. So to wrap this up, kind of do something fun. Since you guys don't know us, I guess, that much, which hopefully you will. Bryce, give me just real quick. Give me your all-time favorite Eagle.
All-time favorite Eagle?
Yes.
Brian Dawkins.
Awesome.
Of course.
Mine is also Brian Dawkins. I have a picture somewhere. It's actually over there. I should move it back over here. Yeah.
Close second if we're going all-time Eagle. I'm like I said, Alabama ride or die boy. I got to ride with quarterback one, man. Jalen, that's my guy. That's my baby boy, man.
Who are you talking about? But I don't know. I don't know why I forgot about him because he went to Oklahoma. That's why. Anyway, I guess that's going to do it for episode 1 of the Linc lineup. One more thing for Bryce.
Most hated Eagle that you ever watched.
Most hated Eagle. There's plenty because there's Derek Barnett. Well, but the most hated definitely was Orlando Scandrick.
Bang! That was immediately what I was about to say. Yeah. I was about to throw that name out there, see if you even remember that fucking clown.
Yep, hate that guy. He was a double agent for the Cowboys when we played him. Yeah. Hey, Orlando, if you somehow come across this, I'll beat your ass if we ever come toe to toe. I am 6'4", 280 of pure man. And you don't want this. But to wrap up, go what?
I'm about 5'8", 230. I'm a little short bastard, but I got quick hands, baby. We can rock and roll.
Hands like a snake. But this has been a great episode 1. Thank you to all of you who have tuned in and listened or watched or whatever, both. We have plenty of good content coming out. I hope. I'll pray we do. It's coming out soon. Yeah, I would say so. I'm dedicating a lot of time to this, so hopefully, you guys see it. Me and Bryce are going to go to 2 games as of now, and during those 2 games, we'll meet up and do a little live. Just an in-person recording. I'm not going to call it live because we're not going to live stream or anything, but we'll do in-person recording. It'll be different. It'll be cool. We want to start a TikTok. I want to do some kind of games for you guys to keep it interesting, keep it fresh. So plenty of things to look forward to. I might even give away my signed Donovan McNabb jersey. I'm not going to do that.
Whoa! I was about to say we could do a jersey giveaway though at a certain amount of followers.
Maybe we'll cross that bridge whenever we get there. But once again, this is the Linc lineup. You can follow us on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, at the Linc lineup. You can follow me, Chase, at Cardiac Chase. You can follow Bryce at I am Bryce Haynes. Like I said, we'll be on YouTube and we will be on every single one of your favorite podcasting platforms. Unless it's some kind of weird platform that nobody knows about, only you know about, it won't be on there. But let me know and I'll put it on there for you. So with that being said, Bryce, got any last words you want to say?
Go Birds, baby.
Go Birds. Great last words. So with that being said, hope you guys have a wonderful week, and we will see you next time.
Peace.